Hello everybody, this is going to be a tutorial on how to use your Fantasy Football Dynasty League headquarters. So from this will be a Google Sheet that will be sent out to all of you. However, it will only be a viewable document. Only the commissioners will have the access to edit the document. And so when it comes to this, primarily this will just be for your viewing pleasure to help maintain your balance, your salary, your expiration dates, how much you're putting towards your team with the cost, and just give a good heads up on what your roster will look like. Yahoo will have this information, however, Yahoo will not have the expiration dates or your cost. It will not maintain your salary for you. And so this is what this headquarters will be. This also has a few tabs that will be useful. However, that will be in a different video when I explain the rules and get more in-depth information. So I want this just to be a tutorial on what to look for, how to manage this, and make it your own. And do really whatever you want to do with it. So to get started, let's say I have players 1 through 20 right here. We will be drafting 20 players in our auction draft at the beginning. And so if I have a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, a kicker, and my defense. And so these will be, of course, distributed all throughout these 20 positions. And so when I do this positions, I'm going to put them in here respectively. And you'll notice that when I type these in, they are color coordinated. And so when I color coordinate them, it helps you just have a better view of how many positions that you have in each one. And so say this takes up the whole range, and my cost for all of my quarterbacks, let's say it's $50. My running backs is $50. Wide receivers are $35. Tight ends is $30. Kickers is 15. Defense is also 15. And you'll notice that the budget was going down the entire time. So right here, the remaining budget will be kept throughout this process. And so now let's do our contract expirations. And so let's say my quarterback's on a 3-year contract, my running back is on a 2-year, wide receiver on a 3-year, tight end, however, is a 1-year contract. And whenever I put in a 1, boom, it's going to turn red to indicate that this player's contract will be expiring at the end of the current season. And so what are you going to do with that is whatever you want to do. You can extend this player's contract for another year and additional money as well, which we will get into the rules for a later video. And so just to continue on with this, 2, 3, and now say in my transactions, whether it's through a trade or a free agent pickup, I ended up spending too much money, and now I have $30 for my defense. Boom. It's going to be negative $10 up here in my remaining budget. So somewhere across the line, I went over my salary cap. I'm over budget, and that transaction, whatever you did, will be reversed. You potentially will lose your free agent auction money that you did, and you will receive a strike to let you know that you made a mistake. And so that will be explained later in these strikes tabs down here. But again, this is just a tutorial on what this sheet looks like, not the rules. And so it will be explained later on what all that means. And so let's put this back down to $15 again. And now I'm good on my budget. And so let's say I just want to see a percentage of what my players are, what it looks like. And so I can go over here to my pie chart. And so you'll see my pie chart right here. I have all of my positions placed in an order that kind of shows its percentage. And so my quarterbacks, the running backs obviously take up the most. It'd be 50% of that money. And then my salary cap is very few and is barely even shown. So this is just going to be a cool little trick and tip that you can use depending on if you want to spend more on wide receivers, if you want to spend more than just your $35 and you see yourself spending way too much on quarterbacks or running backs, or you want to spend more money on running backs and you want to get that percentage higher. It's not super necessary, but it's just a cool little trick that you can look at to help maintain your balance and just make sure you're budgeting well. And so over here, this will be your draft board as well to see who you initially drafted for that current season. This will maintain our strikes, which I will get into with our rules later. Again, the pie charts, the dues, and how much people are owing. I don't want to click the rules or rewards yet. Because I'm just don't want to spoil anything, but rewards will be given out teams 1 through 9 in that respective position, and you kind of get to choose what you do. Now over here, my free agents. This list will be updated on Yahoo as well because Yahoo automatically does all of those with who's available and whatnot. But what Yahoo does not do is keep up with how much we are spending on the players as well as the contract remaining for each position player. And so what this means, this will primarily be updated during the season when players are dropped during the season, which will look different rather than during the off season and so that'll be explained in the rules as well. But don't ignore these numbers. These are for coding. You won't be able to see these when I finalize everything. So right here, this will be a good tool to see how much player is worth if they were dropped during the regular season and how much is remaining on their contract. But primarily, this current rosters tab down here is going to be your headquarters. You will spend a majority of your time looking at this, making sure your salary is good and making sure that before you do a transaction, you will be able to do that transaction. And so with this, again, it is only viewable and not editable to look at and do. However, if you want, you can make your own Excel document to keep in mind and play with the numbers as well. I can send out this template right here, and you can just have your own little sheet. And so up here, you have your name, your team name, and you'll get a fun little picture that you can add in, or I can just make one for you and just plug it in to help go with your team name. And so yeah, this is basically the essentials of what this looks like, how it's going to operate. I will be sending out a rules video shortly in the next few days on what to expect, what it looks like. That will be a longer video diving into anything. So if you have any questions right now about what this looks like in our 20-man roster, please let me know and I can do my best to answer any of your questions that you have. And so I'm looking forward to the season. Do some mock drafts, especially if you have not done an auction draft before, to get a hang of what that looks like. And just remember, Dynasty is a completely different way to draft, even during auction style, because each year will be granted a 3-year contract during the auction draft. And so you might want to spend a little bit less on some players or more on some players, depending on what that looks like. But again, that will be definitely dug deeper in the rules on what that looks like, maybe gives you a better idea on how to draft. But I will be getting that out shortly. And so yeah, enjoy the rest of y'all's day.